Welcome to Tell Us What You Made.
The show where we each make a dish with one common ingredient or theme.
Then we get together, compare notes, and see if we can learn anything.
This episode, Inga, Andrew, Rie, and I all made different dishes using champagne.
This happens to be the 12th episode of Tell Us What You Made and the 1-year anniversary of About to Eat, which is why we chose champagne.
Woo!
I always get scared when I open champagne bottle too.
Oh my gosh,
Here we
I'm
go.
nervous.
There we go.
Oh, there you go. Oh, oh.
Cheers!
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right, Inga, you are up first. Tell us what you made.
I made some Eggs Benedict with hollandaise sauce made with champagne. Boozy breakfast, you know?
Boozy bougie breakfast.
I started by making the sauce, and as you can see, this is my champagne of choice, Michel Gonnet Grand Cru. This champagne was recommended to me by Chef Douglas at Jeju Noodle Bar. I asked for his recommendation, and this was one that he recommended would be good for both drinking and cooking. And this is me trying to pop the bottle open. I was very scared. Oh, yeah, you can't hear my scream here, but I did like kind of panic a little bit.
It's so satisfying. What do you call that fog that comes out of a bottle of champagne? It's like not the bubbles, it's like
Vapor, compressed air.
vapor. There we go.
Back to the sauce, I basically just poured a little bit of the champagne in there. You know, how you're kind of substituting the acidity that usually you would use with like vinegar or white wine. I just used champagne instead. And then I just separated my egg whites from my egg yolks because I wanted some yolks in this sauce. Got some
Nice
really
eggs.
nice ones. Yeah, right? I
Nice.
was really trying to find the ones with like a beautiful color.
Where did you get it?
I got these at an Italian grocery store, actually.
Okay.
I feel like Alvin and I talk about trying to find nice eggs a lot, and so nice color yolks really make a difference, I feel like, especially in dishes like this. So
Nice egg.
I added in a little bit more acidity with like some lemon juice just because I wanted that. I like it a little more on that side, and then I just whisked it all together until it became like a well combined mixture. And then, okay, so because on the topic of just like more elevated brunch, and so I also found this white truffle butter that I just thought, you know, why not? I didn't want to get like truffles. I feel like white truffle butter kind of is like a step up, but like not too crazy yet. And so that's kind of what I'm going to use to combine with the yolk mixture to help like emulsify it. I ended up using the entire tub of butter. So yeah, that's the whole thing went in there. You know, it's a buttery sauce. I think this process took me quite a while because you don't want the eggs to overcook. You want to make sure the butter is slowly incorporated. So I just had it on like super low heat and just slowly combined it, as you can see. And there you go.
Nice.
Now it's looking a lot thicker, right?
Damn.
Very nice.
I was just testing the consistency here because, again, I think I almost forgot, but like once it cools too, it's going to be a little thicker, a little more viscous.
So satisfying.
Yeah, so that's pretty much done. I just like did a little bit more seasoning at the end, some black pepper, some salt. Oh, and then of course I added more lemon juice, I guess, because I just wanted, again, more tanginess to it. Personal preference. Okay, so that was the sauce. And then over on the other end, I just started poaching some eggs. I poured some vinegar in there because vinegar helps when it comes to making poached eggs. So this is not the truffle butter. This is the very nice butter, the very nice French
Yes.
butter that you got me, Alvin. So thank you.
Oh, hell yeah, let's go.
So I was melting butter to toast my English muffins. So the butter, actually, I think I basically browned it a little bit. So there's a little bit of nuttiness now to the buttery taste. And then because I just wanted it to be a little more toasted, I decided to use my toaster. Back to the poached eggs. I feel like this is something we just do, like, you know, you create like a vortex by whirling the whisk around so then it helps the egg maintain its shape. It's like a little dance. Look at that. Little egg dance.
Ooh.
Oh my god, it
Oh my
actually looks
God.
like a little ballerina figure.
tadpole.
Right? How
Like the
cute
skirt
is it?
coming out.
Once the egg was done, it was pretty much just starting to build it up. So I have my toasted English muffin, and I had some really nice smoked salmon, which is my choice when it comes to eating Eggs Benedict. Then I put on the pretty little poached egg.
Damn.
Wow.
Look at that light.
This is
Oh
the
my,
shot.
oh my
This is the
lord.
sauce.
Yo.
Excellent color combination.
Yo.
Thank you. Thank you. And then a little bit of chives. Chives and dill.
Dill.
And then, to top it off,
Truffle.
Oh,
Oh,
I got
Lord.
some caviar.
Oh, Lord.
This is Siberian sturgeon. Caviar Roost. It's actually a New York, family-owned caviar company. And again, this was recommended to me by Chef Douglas because I feel like at Chichen Noodle Bar, that's where we enjoy these dishes the most. So I was like, this man knows what's good. I am going to listen to him. I used a plastic spoon in the end, and I scooped way too much. This is way too much. Way too much caviar.
That looks good to me.
And then I just did the little scoopy. What do we call it? We call this a canal?
Canal,
yeah.
Yeah, canal.
Oh,
Look at
Call
that.
that a tasting.
wow.
Look at that.
Oh, Lord.
The shine.
Does that?
Oh,
This is
Lord.
something you could get like the
Dang.
Plaza Hotel or something.
that looks like a stock photo. Like the way that the hollandaise is drizzled, the angle of everything. Boom!
Woohoo!
Look at that.
Look at that yolk
Oh,
shot.
nice.
You guys,
Damn.
I mean,
Nice.
that color, the color really turned out a lot, like way better than I expected. And it was very good, guys. It was super good.
Did you taste the champagne?
I did. I like felt like I had to, so I drank champagne off to the side, like with this, and I just felt like I was like, who am I? What am I doing? So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. That was my little champagne dish.
That looks better than any Eggs Benedict I've ever had in my life.
Wow, that is a huge compliment, Andrew, because you've had a lot of good Eggs Benedict, I'm sure. Cheers to that. Okay, well, now that I'm done, Andrew, you are up next.
Okay. So I actually made 3 foods to pair with 3 different types of champagne. I took this as an exercise to A, learn about different types of champagne, and B, try to pair that with foods that they're supposed to go with. So I actually did 3 bottles of champagne, and I made 3 little things that I understood might pair well with these 3 types. So the first one I started with was kind of the most typical type of champagne. And when I was reading about what pairs with champagne typically, most of the pairings recommend oily foods, fattier foods, and often seafood flavors. So to start off, I just made a simple little toast with canned sardines on top. So I went to the store and got the nice canned fish. These are some tinned sardines.
It's a hot girl food.
Yeah, this is that hot girl food.
What?
Canned fish is right now it's a e-girl, like it's a hot girl food.
What?
I'm surprised you haven't heard of this. You guys
I
are
think
up on
I would have
trends.
known. I didn't know if it was like a euphemism or something.
No, it's like popular food. That's this
Okay.
simpler way to identify it. It's like trend food. I didn't really follow a recipe for this. I just sort of made it up. I had this baguette that I split and toasted. I had a clove of garlic that I rubbed on the surface to just put its oils and flavor as a base. I then layered on a few of these sardines. They're full of this like rich, seafoody, oily flavor. This is just the zest of a little bit of lemon on top for a bit of freshness, a little squeeze of lemon, and then I think there's some parsley there. And this was my first bite. You know, this is like an appetizer, like snack kind of thing. But honestly, that whole can of fish, you know, that could be a whole meal. It's so good. And this is the champagne I paired it with. This is, you can see.
Oh, so different from mine.
I took the
Party
cage off
foul.
and I was like, let me make sure it's in frame. And then I gave it a little twist.
It like popped out by itself, didn't it?
It did. It absolutely
Damn.
did. So this champagne is a Blanc de Blanc designation, which I learned means that it's made entirely of white grapes. And I think, Inga, the one that you had was also this type of wine. But you know, winemaking is like this whole giant thing that I really don't know a ton about. But apparently champagne, despite being a white colored wine, is not always made from white grapes. So you can see there, this is a Grand Cru Brut. That's sort of like the dryness level. And then Blanc de Blanc, meaning that it was made entirely of white grapes.
Wow, I'm learning so much. I
Yeah.
just like drinking champagne, and whenever people explain it, I'm drinking it. So I tend to forget what they were explaining.
I mean, I don't think you necessarily have to hold on to information when you learn something, but I think
Yeah.
learning can make something taste better on its own, even if you don't retain the information. It's like the activity of learning makes something tastier, in my opinion.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
So now we're on to the next dish. I'm making duck à l'orange, following the Jacques Pepin recipe for it.
Oh, your favorite?
Yeah. His favorite.
Yeah, love Jacques Pepin. I'm heating up a stock pot with a little bit of oil in the bottom, and I'm adding the neck and wings of a duck.
Ooh.
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 And so I'm just browning the bottoms, giving some color to all of these different duck parts, and this is going to become the stock for a sauce that will finish the dish. Then there's a bunch of aromatics that go in. There's celery, onion, carrot, also tomato and tomato paste go into this stock, which I thought were really unique, and some thyme. So there's my duck. You can see the wings were snipped off to make the stock. And then I think I just tied up the legs to be as compact a shape as possible. And then I just added a little bit of water so that the fat that is rendering out of the duck wouldn't burn on the bottom. The one thing that was kind of finicky about making this is that it asked you to rotate the duck about 45 degrees every, I think it was like 15 minutes or so. It's roasting at a kind of a high temperature, so I think you're just kind of rendering it evenly as it goes around.
Ooh.
It's like a chicken rotisserie.
Yeah, so now we get to the l'orange part of the duck à l'orange. I'm taking the zest off of the orange and slicing it up, squeezing some orange and getting the stock prepared. All of those little orange zests are going to be used as a garnish, so they ask you to blanch it really quickly in hot water.
Nice.
Oh, I bet that smells so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good. This was also, TBH, unnecessary. This was like mostly for decoration.
So very necessary.
Learned
Yes.
that the hard way. So the duck continues to rotate, adding more water to the pan as it's going. And then after a while, it looks like that. So here's the champagne that I picked to go with this dish. So I thought, okay, duck à l'orange, I got the fatty component, that's the duck. And the à l'orange is gonna be, with this orange juice and everything, probably a bit of a sweeter sauce. So that's why I picked it to go with this type of champagne, which is this Brut Nature. But essentially, the Brut level is like the dryness of a champagne. Dryness meaning if it's drier, it tastes less sweet. And so this other thing that I learned about champagne is that at the end of the process, when the champagne is added to the bottle, they actually add this dosage, this addition of sugar to the end of the bottling process that's supposed to round out the flavor of the champagne. You know, grapes are naturally very acidic. So a Brut Nature has none of that extra sugar added at the end. So it's the driest level of champagne you could have, which I thought would pair with this duck à l'orange nicely.
Wow.
Coincidentally, this was also a total accident. As I was reading about duck à l'orange, you know, I'm looking at different recipes, and one of the sites I was on was like, oh, the wine pairing you should do with duck à l'orange is Pinot Noir. And it just happened that this champagne that I picked was made with Pinot Noir grapes.
Oh.
Whoa.
So that was a happy,
Destiny.
that was, yeah, destiny for sure. So there I was just sectioning this navel orange. That's gonna go on the plate with the final duck. And then here's the assembly of the sauce. I started by making a caramel. It boils, then the orange juice goes in. There's also some currant jam, which I actually couldn't find, and I just used raspberry jam. So here comes the stock going in at the end.
Ooh, nice.
And then, if that's not enough, you just whisk in some cubes of butter at the end.
That's what I'm
Yes.
talking about. That's
Yes.
that's what makes it taste good.
And then, lastly, there's actually some orange liquor that's added at the very
Oh
end.
man.
Yeah.
Yum, yum.
Nice.
This is also a recipe where like the proportion of how much stock you should have at the end was not super clear. So I think I could have done a better job balancing the sweetness. if that
Do you
makes
think it
sense.
was too sweet?
I think it was a little too sweet, at least for like my taste buds, which prefer not sweet things. But speaking of not sweet things, this champagne was awesome. This is now my favorite type. Like I said, it was made with Pinot Noir, and I don't think you can really see it in that shot, but it almost had like a slight red tint to it. So here comes the duck, It rested for a bit,
Damn.
and then it was just a matter of slicing it up and plating.
Wow.
Oh,
Here's
that's
the breast.
skin.
Most of the instruction was
Wow.
like how to plate it fancy, which is with these orange sections, the sauce on top, and then those blanched zests.
Nice. Very sweet and savory. Oh, you really like the champagne.
The champagne was great. Okay, so the last champagne is at the complete opposite end of the spectrum. So I was talking about the sugar that's added at the end of the champagne making process. There's another type called demi-sec where more sugar is added to the champagne to make it more of a sweet dessert champagne. So I thought I would just make a simple bittersweet chocolate cake. And I followed this Ina Garden recipe. I actually ended up making it more sort of bittersweet. I added a higher proportion of that higher cacao chocolate to make it like very dark and bitter. Here's my demi-sec wine. And let me cut to the chase, guys. This recipe, okay, yeah, I'm gonna like melt some chocolate, yada yada, butter goes in. It's a brownie. I made a brownie. It was really good.
Nice.
But the whole time I was like, this is gonna be like this awesome chocolate cake. It's an effing brownie. It was great, but it tasted great with this champagne. The champagne was actually relievingly not too sweet. I was expecting something to be kind of like syrupy. Like I've had dessert wines in the past that are like basically a melted lollipop. And this champagne wasn't that. It was actually not that far off of the regular brut champagne that I had earlier. And the bittersweet chocolate with the champagne that's actually sweeter than this brownie that I made was really nice together.
Nice.
So yeah,
That's a
those
fun
are my
day.
3 champagnes and the 3 things I made to pair with them.
Was this all in one day, Andrew? Just curious.
It was not all in one day.
Okay,
No
I was like,
way.
you about to finish
No
3
way.
bottles of champagne in one day.
All right, Alvin, you're next. Tell us what you made.
I made a crispy roasted pork belly with an apple cider champagne cream sauce, inspired by a recipe from Marco Pierre White.
Oh.
Okay, so we have a big pork belly I got from Costco, and this does not have skin, unfortunately, but I'm scoring the top just to make sure that we get that crosshatch patterns. Let's let all the fat come out, and I think it looks really pretty. That'll crisp up really nicely when it hits the oven. Good amount of salt. This is a very, very large piece of meat, so it can take a lot of salt. I'm trimming off any of those little niblets that might not be super pretty and just be hanging off, but this is a lot of pork. This is a cast iron.
Oh,
I'm putting
boy.
it in,
Oh, no.
yeah,
Wow, now,
Should have
now I
brought
know
a bigger
how
boat.
big.
I should wish I got the 10-inch cast iron, but this is a dry pan, dry heat, no oil, because I'm trying to render some of the fat out and get a head start on that. So this is a sweet potatoes, not in the recipe, but I had this lying around in my fridge, and I had an idea. So I'm doing a jewel cut on the sweet potatoes, making sure that they get a lot of nice texture. I learned that from Claire King. Shout out to Claire King. Back to the pork. The pork is very snugly fit into its metal coffin. I have to move it around to make sure that I can get all the sides. It's okay. It's like, when I fit into my pants after a big dinner. So, very relatable. Anyways, now that the pork is brown, look at that. Look at that.
Oh,
Wow,
Ooh,
that does look
nice.
great.
Yeah. So, playing some Tetris with the meat. I'm putting the sweet potatoes in as almost like a base. I want the bottom to caramelize the sugars as a layer, and it's a rack. I don't actually have, this is also why I use sweet potatoes. I don't have a roasting pan, so I'm choosing to rest it on top, and all the juices, DIY edible roasting pan, all those juices going, those sweet potatoes are gonna be amazing in my head. In the oven, this is at 400 degrees for quite some time until everything is nice and crispy. I honestly didn't even time it. I just watched it and I just waited for it to get super, super, super crispy. And
Nice.
there it is in all its
Wow.
glory. You can
Wow.
Oh, the sizzle.
see that crust?
Yeah, looks crunchy.
This is the champagne that I chose today. So I went into the store and I asked the guy, I was like, hello, I would like a champagne that would be good in a cider sauce with apple and pork. And he recommended to me this one. This one has notes of apple, pear, a lot of floral scents, and it is produced by an independent champagne manufacturer, which I love because I'm a huge supporter of these individual creators and producers. And fun fact, he also told me that at the Chanel fashion show every year, some people buy
Oh,
Moet Veuve
Veuve
Clicquot.
Clicquot.
I miss that's what it says. A lot of people buy these big name brands, but they exclusively buy this one because this is the
Oh.
one that they really enjoy for the taste. And I really like that. Now I'm making the sauce, so I'm using apple cider, Martinelli's, very nostalgic, and it is equal parts of apple cider, equal parts of champagne, and equal parts of heavy cream. So in the video, what he's famous for saying is reduce it down to a syrup, not a caramel. So I reduce each one down to a syrup,
Wow.
not a caramel, and then the cream goes in. It's very equal parts. There's no really measurement, so I just kind of eyeballed it a bit. But this sauce is, I've actually never smelled anything quite like it with the cream and the champagne notes and the cider. As you can see, I need larger pans in my house.
Wait, what did it smell like?
It smelled like a garden that had Alfredo sauce, but in the best way, you know? Well, you know when you make Alfredo or you make those kinds of cream sauces, you know what heavy cream smells like when it's
Right.
being boiled. But then you
Yeah.
get the notes of the champagne and the apple cider. I thought it was gonna be weird, but it was great. That's my pork belly right there. That's what I'm talking about.
Nice.
Wow, that's keen.
Juicy, big chunks, like I eat them in Chinatown because I was like, that's what it looks like. So I'm gonna plate it
Yum, yum, yum.
like this. This is my pork belly, and this is the sauce.
Wow.
Oh.
That was great.
Thanks. It was. After dousing it, some black pepper to finish. I think pepper goes well with the cream. Pepper goes well with pork. But this is my version of Marco Pierre's white pork belly with cider cream sauce recipe. It tasted
Ooh,
really good.
tender.
Very tender. This is my champagne. I tasted the pork belly with the sauce separately, and it was really nice because the champagne was on the drier side, but I had those apple and floral notes and cider to sort of make everything taste good. I thought the cream sauce might be a little too heavy, but it was great. And then with the champagne, it was even better. It's like having champagne whisper in your ear while you drink it and you eat it at the same time. It was great. And this is a very simple, I think I'm going to use that sauce recipe for a lot of things.
Very nice.
All right. Well, Rie, you are the anchor. Tell us what you made.
I made a champagne truffle, the chocolate,
Oh.
Ooh.
not the mushroom, the chocolate dessert. First, I'm making ganache, and I think important thing of making ganache, the heavy cream shouldn't be too much like boiling. You just want it to take off from the heat when the heavy cream just start bubbling up. Adding some chocolate in a bowl and pour hot heavy cream over. And I usually count 20 seconds, and you don't want to whisk right away. So heavy cream and chocolate kind of, how do you call, marriage?
They become
That's
friends.
exactly what it is.
So I count 20 seconds, and sometimes if you don't do that, ganache could break. So I think it's important, and whisk it until completely melted. And if you still see chocolate solid, you can just put over hot water, but you don't want to do direct heat because you don't want to burn the chocolate. So make sure everything is completely melted. You kind of have like heavy, thick chocolate. For the champagne, I just chose budget-friendly one because you're cooking anyways. So I found some champagne that is not too expensive.
Oh!
There was some accident.
Oh!
I love how we all have that champagne opening shot and like it just is so different, everyone.
I feel like mine is the worst. Like it's overflowed. I forgot how much champagne I used. Maybe 1 tablespoon. Mixed in and put it in a refrigerator. I think I am adding more. Yeah.
You think
Oh,
you're adding
yes.
more?
Oh,
Were you
yes.
drinking when you were making this, Rie?
I don't know how much I am still adding. So 3 tablespoons is.
Wow.
You just want to have the flavor, right? And you're gonna put it in the refrigerator so it kind of get cold and it's easier to form later. while it's resting,
Ooh.
I'm making a coating. And I don't have a blender or the food processor. So I'm
Wait,
using
is this a baby food maker?
yeah. It's a baby
Wait,
food cooker.
oh my god, I was
I was
wondering
like,
what
that's
it
an
was.
interesting design.
Oh wow.
So this actually
Okay.
is great tool. It's like a mini food processor. I
Wow.
love this. I like pistachio because it's green. I think it's nice color. And this one is freeze to dry raspberry. So chocolate truffle is like brown. So I
nice.
kind of wanted to make it festive. And I was thinking, what is cute color? I processed the freeze raspberry and pistachio, but you can use whatever you want. You can use sesame seeds, you can just use cocoa powder.
Ooh, so
Wow.
thick.
I think you want it to rest in the refrigerator at least 30 minutes and you kind of make round truffle shape.
I just love how every next shot the hands are getting
Progressively chocolatier.
That's the struggle, right? I pick up with a
Yep.
fork
Ooh.
and toss in the dust I made earlier.
Look how cute.
So pretty.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ooh. I mean, look at
Okay.
that.
This is super easy, but it can look fancy.
How did it taste?
Tastes great. It tastes like champagne too. If you don't want to use champagne, you can completely avoid that process. But also you can use other liquor, like you can use sake, you can use shochu.
That orange liquor that Andrew used in his sauce,
yeah.
that would be so
Oh
good in
yeah,
this.
orange
So
and
good.
chocolate pair as well.
I feel like that's the kind of thing that you would want to receive like in a box, like as a
Oh.
gift. Like if I got that as
Yeah.
a gift, I'd be so happy.
I want to receive Andrew's duck in a box.
Just one big box of everything. How about that?
Bento box.
Champagne bento box, yeah. Okay, so there are champagne recipes. We had Inga's Eggs Benedict, Alvin's pork belly, my toast duck and chocolate cake, and Rie's chocolate truffles.
Yeah, Alvin, you kind of look like Men in Black.
Well, it's been a great year.
Thank you to everyone for being with us for the first year, and we're very excited for what's to come this next year.
Cheers.
Cheers!
Ah, I spilled champagne.